Peace, peace, love, light, and self-healing family. I'm coming back to you with a new episode of The Royalty. It's been a little minute. Tonight we're here discussing emotionless, the cost of closing our hearts, emotional intelligence, nervous system regulation, and the return to feelings. So my intention behind tonight's episode is to explore the link between emotional intelligence, our nervous system health, and our ability to self-heal. This episode will offer some deep insight into how emotional numbness, often mistaken for peace, is really a sign of dysregulation and disconnection from our body. So when I say that, yes, of course, a lot of us actually cultivate and maintain peace, but then there are also a lot of us that avoid and deflect in the name of keeping the peace or in the name of preserving our peace. And in reality, what we end up doing is ignoring our inner emotions and ignoring our inner healing by thinking that we can just hop, skip, and jump over whatever feels uncomfortable. So when an emotion rises within us and we choose to push it to the side, whether that be because we're in a situation where we choose to put up a mask instead of be vulnerable and express ourselves, or if it's just not the time to express emotions and we have no choice but to hold on to them for a while. And I definitely have experience with that because throughout my relationship, before we were able to have an open, safe space for conversations with one another and communication, at times my partner wouldn't be ready when I was ready. So I would have to hold on to those emotions that I was feeling. And that always led to bottled up emotions and explosions when it was time to release. And him constantly not being ready led to him really never being ready because then it would explode and that was way too overwhelming. So figuring out the balance in that was work in itself for us. And we're still a work in progress when it comes to communication. Nothing is ever perfect, but we are definitely in a place where now we can at least recognize our emotions and communicate them for the most part, at least. Because some of these transits still be tested, the waters. But anywho, so yeah, sometimes we can come off being unbothered and emotionless, and it's become a trend, really. Um, in some of my recent interactions, I can just automatically feel it because I'm an open person. I'm emotionally open, mentally open, spiritually open. But my spirit also can sense when others are closed off and when to discern just how much of myself to give up, to give away, to share, you know? Um, so yeah, I've definitely been noticing the trend of being unbothered. And most of us are actually overwhelmed and shut down when we put on that mask of being unbothered or having no emotions. What the body is really saying is, I don't have the capacity for any more because the ones that have already came, I haven't processed. They're still sitting there. So I don't have the capacity to take on any more. So You're just naturally putting up this defense and probably don't even know it. It's probably subconscious, more than likely. But this is why self-healing is so vital, because it's the little things that lead to big things. But all it takes is a little self-reflection. Healing requires feeling, and safety in your nervous system makes feeling possible. Without you feeling fear, without you feeling flight, without you feeling avoidance, when you feel safe in your nervous system, you know that you're safe to process what's coming in and out, what's being downloaded and uploaded. So let's affirm, I am safe to feel, express, and release all emotions that live within me. I am safe to feel, express, and release all emotions that live within me. So let's talk emotional intelligence and self-healing. The ability to identify, understand, and regulate emotions in alignment with our truth and not our trauma. So that ability to pinpoint, what am I feeling in this moment? And you know when something arises within you, because you'll be at peace one moment, and then the next moment you'll feel a stir within you, more than likely in your solar plexus, in the center of you, in your stomach area, your abdomen. You'll feel like a stir, maybe gentle, maybe aggressive, but there's an emotion rising. And the ability to be able to know what emotion that is, name it, understand why it's rising, where it may be coming from, and then regulate it in alignment with your truth and where you are now. Because a lot of the times those emotions are coming from our past traumas, whether it's recent past traumas or whether it goes way back to the root of childhood. When we feel nothing, it's not peace. It's the freeze response of your nervous system. Like I said, it's your nervous system saying, I don't have the capacity, because what's already come in, we never processed. We probably identified it, but we didn't process it. And there's a difference. We love to say, when you know better, you do better, but those are two different things. Sometimes you know better and you don't do better. Sometimes it takes a minute for you to realize, oh, I figured that out, but I didn't take action on that. I didn't really implement something that would reverse that would improve that would elevate that. I really just saw it for what it was and thought I could move forward after that. And the root causes, like I said, generational trauma, so childhood trauma, emotional neglect most likely occurred in childhood and also in relationships throughout life, and disconnection from the body. So just being disconnected from your body, not being able to recognize the subtle shifts in your own energy. Royalty's Nervine collection includes blends with skullcap, lemon balm, and chamomile to calm overstimulation and reconnect the body and the mind. Our teas support emotional regulation and nervous system balance. So I highly recommend the Nervine collection. Peace is not the absence of emotion. It's the regulation of it. Because emotions are going to always be here as long as we are here. How can one rebuild emotional intelligence? How can we reawaken emotions safely after numbness? So I would say regulate your emotions before you relate to a situation. Give yourself time. Don't feel rushed that you need to, immediately respond. No, if you feel something within you, give yourself time. You can say, give me a moment to get back to you on that, if you're in a conversation. So that you can regulate your emotions before you relate to what's going on. So that you're not moving from this place of numbness. And you could be really moving from your divine truth. Practicing emotional labeling. So sitting with yourself and practicing naming those emotions that come up that you feel you tend to tuck away, and see the triggers as cues for your healing. I know a lot of times we get triggered, and especially our masculine, when they feel triggered, they feel they're doing something wrong. And then that could lead them to defense. But look at it as cues for your healing. Like I said, take that time to regulate and to name, what am I feeling? So this was a short episode tonight. Short, impactful, intentional. So we're going to end it off with some journal prompts and affirmations. The first journal prompt is, where do I feel safe to feel? What emotions do I suppress most often and why? What helps me return to presence when I'm overwhelmed? And three affirmations are, my emotions are sacred messengers, not threats. My nervous system is healing with each breath, sip, and choice to feel. I am emotionally intelligent and grounded in love. So I truly understand how, at times, emotional detachment can serve as our protector, as protection from hurt, from betrayal, from loss. The list can go on. But it can't serve our expansion because we're on a journey of knowing ourselves, healing ourselves. And that requires us to be vulnerable and honest with ourselves. Sometimes it gets deeper. So remember, we don't need to be unbothered to be balanced. And I invite you to royaltyhealing.com to check out our Nervine collection to assist in emotional regulation and nervous system healing. And until next time, peace, love, light, and self-healing, family.